Hey, this is Bryan Leonard of Wager Talk. I'm down here at the West Gate, and I've got a few questions to answer here, and we'll get to that in just a second. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, moved out to Vegas 1997, and been out here ever since, and well known in the industry and in the sports betting industry overall. Got a few questions here for Behind the Bettor, and we'll take a look, and hopefully I can get you some answers. Do you remember a day that was most profitable for you in sports betting? Actually, I don't remember a day. I remember a year. I was living back in Cleveland in 1995-96. I was originally an NBA handicapper, and I just had the season, just an unbelievable season. This was back when I wasn't on the internet, and the wife and I would be in the house, and I'd just answer phone call after phone call. This was back when you had late phone services. And I just won every day. It was one of those situations where I ended the season #1 for the Sports Monitor. Just did tremendously well. And at that point, we made enough money. We decided, hey, let's move out to Vegas, run my business from there. She's in the medical industry. She can get a job out here. And that one season set us up for a lot of success out here in Las Vegas. Second question, what's the biggest mistake you see sports bettors making today? Well, first of all, they overbet. You should only be playing maybe 1 to 2% of your bankroll. A lot of people will play way too much of their bankroll on any single game. Hey, face it, even the pros lose once in a while, and we get on losing streaks. You don't want a losing streak to erase your entire bankroll. So that's the first thing I would say is just make sure you're not betting too high. In fact, if you could chart your bets for like a couple of years, I know you're not betting, but if you could chart your plays for a couple of years, that'll be a situation where you'll know your winning percentage, and then you'll be able to figure out how much you should bet on the games. All right, who would you put on the Mount Rushmore of people in sports betting? Well, unfortunately, I've always been a sports bettor and not a bookmaker. I haven't been on the other side, so really I don't pay a lot of attention to that. So I know Billy Walters, and I know the guys everybody's going to say. What I would like to do is talk about the four people who have helped me along the way. I grew up in Cleveland, as I said. I was friends with Phil Steele, who runs North Coast Sports and the Power Sweep newsletter. That's how I got into the industry. I was betting NBA basketball. He's obviously a big football bettor. He put me up with some phones in his basement, and I had a newsletter, and people would call in and get my late phone service at the time. So first off, thanks for Phil Steele for getting me into the industry. Secondly would be Mark Lawrence, also from the Cleveland area. He lived in Strasville. Nicest guy you'll ever meet in this industry. He's helped me along over the years. A great guy, he and his wife, Colleen, just a tremendous couple. And anytime I've ever had a question or something that troubled me, I can always go to Mark, and he would lay it out, and it made a lot of sense. And I just love Mark. He's just a great person. Third person on here would be an actual sports bettor and a bookmaker, and that's Chris Andrews. Chris Andrews is currently over at the South Point, a friend of ours for many years. He's worked at so many different casinos in town, but he's also a bettor. And in between that time where he's worked at the casinos, I would go up to Reno, we'd go out to lunch, he'd explain the other side of the counter to me. And it really helped me knowing what the sports books do and keep me from getting turned off from some of the sports books who cut you in that regard. So try to stay under the radar in that regard. And finally, I'm working for Wager Talk right now. I did work at another company beforehand, along with Johnny Detroit. And I told Johnny, I says, if you ever start a service on your own, a website on your own, I want to be part of it. And that was a few years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and I've been with Wager Talk ever since. And I got to say, all the management at Wager Talk are tremendous people. They just want to help, and I'm glad to be part of it. Next question, what's your most memorable sports bet? This one is kind of strange because I lost this bet. I was betting the NBA, as I said. I'm watching the Lakers game, and I've got, I went a bet against the Lakers. Nick Van Exel is just dribbling out the ball at the end of the game. Rex Chapman was playing for the opposition. He's 30 feet away from the goal. He's not going to shoot. Rex Chapman decides to make a lunge at him. It upset Van Exel. Van Exel takes the three-pointer, makes it. I lose my bet. Never forgive Rex Chapman. He's a great follow on Twitter, but that cost me some money. Best advice for sports bettors. I talked about not betting over your head. What I'd also say is make sure you shop for the best available line. I'm standing here in the Westgate right now. A lot of people will just play the Westgate lines. That's fine if you're not in it to make profit, but you really should have, if you live in Las Vegas, have the apps from each and every casino. It's a situation where you could shop around, and if you don't shop around, you're not going to end up making money in the long run. So that's what I would have to say about that. Next question, what's the best sporting event you ever attended? Well, I've been pretty lucky. I have been to the Final Four, I've been to the World Series, I've been to the NBA Championship, and I've also been to the Stanley Cup Championship, which was here in Las Vegas. I was a season ticket holder for 6 years for the Golden Knights. The first year we played Washington. I went to the clinching game for Washington. We lost, but it was nice to be there. And if you've ever got a chance to come to Las Vegas, make sure you check out the Knights games. It's just a tremendous atmosphere, regular season, playoffs, and hopefully the Stanley Cup Championship this year. College football Saturdays or NFL Sundays. I'm a married man, been married for over 20 years, 23 or so. I got to say, my wife would kill me if I didn't say college football Saturdays. She loves college football. She watches them with me, and if you've been doing this at any time, it's important to make sure your significant other is in this as a team with you. She loves Ohio State. She loves Clemson. I watch a lot of college football with my wife. When the NFL comes on, she leaves, and I'm stuck by myself. I don't really like watching the NFL anyway. It's still hard to beat, really. You just got to pay. Key numbers are so important in the NFL. College football, if you know what you're doing, you can beat those line moves all the way to the top and really set yourself up well. Other than sports betting, what's your favorite way to gamble? I'm sure I'm the first person to tell you this. I play fantasy baseball. I'm very good at fantasy baseball. Baseball and hockey are my two favorite sports. And because of the knowledge of the players, I make a lot of money by playing fantasy baseball. I play the Nationals, the onlines. I play a lot of local ones. So this is the time of year for me, right when baseball season just started yesterday. This is my busy time of the year in playing fantasy baseball and setting myself up for an additional income. Finally, what's your all-time favorite sportsbook in Las Vegas? Well, we're in the Westgate, beautiful place. Circa is gorgeous. Circa, you got to visit it. But to be honest with you, most of the time, I do not go into sports books. The only time I come in is when I'm actually loading up my accounts in the sports book. I spend most of the time at home, or sometimes I'll go out to a bar with friends or whatever. But my favorite sports book in Las Vegas is the one that's got the best line. If you come to Vegas, you're new to Vegas, you like to play underdogs, make sure you get the app for Stations Casinos. Stations usually gives you an extra half a point when you're playing underdogs. Make sure William Hill and Station Casinos, you have the apps for those. Yeah, I love the sports books, but I don't get in them very much. But the ones that got the best lines are the ones that I love. So that's me. That's Bryan Leonard. Glad to talk to you. I hope I answered some questions for you.